Okay, in this training tutorial for Seaton Sun Rooms, we are going to show you how to track customer information as well as create work orders or invoices and repair orders. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to talk briefly about the login process. After you've logged into the application, you'll be presented with a dashboard, and the dashboard in this particular case is consistent of 3 reports. The first report is all customers that are currently in the system. Underneath that are customers with active accounts. So this would be anything that's a quote, anything that's out for measurements, building department, manufacturing process, anything that's out being installed, right up to being billed. Once the customer is billed and the invoice is paid, it falls off of this open account system and then falls down into the closed report, which you can access here. And this would give you all of the closed accounts. And also down here we have repair orders. So any repair orders that are out for customers, they would appear down here. And we can set certain parameters here that they would only show repair orders that are up and coming, that are due this week, today, or just simply carte blanche, everything in the future that's scheduled as an open repair would show up here. So that's basically the what you're looking at when you're looking at the dashboard. You look at the open account section, which is probably the biggest part. It is color coded. I left this field in here to give you an idea. So this yellow background here are all of those customers that have requested quotes. So they're out there for quotes. We have a follow-up field in there that allows us to quickly see when we should be following up on these clients. And you can see we can put a bunch of different color codes in various different fields, so we can flag these things. We can send out text messages and emails and show you certain things that are due on certain dates. So there's a lot we can do there, but to get started we just have this simply showing up here, and then any of the notes, and I'll show you how to get those notes in there too, and we can easily quickly at a glance see what the status is on these particular items. So we see we have 2 items that we're quoting on. We have 2 that are in the measurement phase, 1 in the building department phase, manufacturing installed, and 1 out in the build. And again, depending on what you would like, we can put any particular field in or out of these areas, depending on what your workflow is. So to get started in this, we simply want to either search for a customer here. So I can search for a customer. The customer comes up. I see I have 2. Some of the things we want to do is we want to pay attention to dirty data, and that is repeat customers, or sorry, duplicate customers. So we try to reduce that by making sure that we only have one particular customer, and then that customer can have multiple projects. So if this was say BK Cornerstone or one of the builders out there and we're doing multiple jobs, then we would have just one customer called BK Cornerstone, and then we'd have multiple invoices or work orders for all the various different projects or property locations that they would have. So what we're going to do here is we're going to see we have one here with the Auxilium group. So it's a good opportunity to make sure before you go any further, if you're talking to the customer and it is a repeat customer, for them to update their information. Say, hey, I just want to confirm, making sure we got the correct information. Do we have all of your information? Let's see, we're missing some phone numbers, a website. Do we have that information available? Let's update that information. If that information is not available to us, or this is not a customer, so again, it's a good idea to get into the habit of searching the database first to see if in fact you do have a customer on file, and you don't. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add one. So the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to add this customer. Okay, so now we have all the information filled out. A couple of things that we can do here are make it a corporate account. If it is a corporate account, we can put in the contact information there, the company name information there. Terms, net 30, 60, 90. Again, option not necessarily required, can be removed or expanded. So we have the customer information here. Now we're just simply going to hit save. So now that we have the customer information, we want to go ahead and we want to create a work order for this customer. So the customer has requested a quote on some work in the back So we're going to just hit here. It says add invoice. So we're going to look at it. The address location for the install, it would be the same. So it's at that address. We could track a PO number, show the payment history if anything, but in this particular case right now we're showing that this is a quote. So if this wasn't a quote, this was say an invoice, then we could just simply go straight to billing, and then that would turn it into, as you can see, it's an invoice and it will assign an invoice number to it. But by default it starts out as a quote, and then from that quote we go in, screen the back deck, the cost. Again, if we have this information, again, and not knowing much about your workflow, we'll just put that in there for now. So we have this information here, and now what we're doing is we're going to save this information. So now we have the customer's quote ready to go. If there were some drawings, I know there's some drawings that were referenced before, that would be after you save the record, the description. So it's, we'll say property drawings. You would browse, you would find the document, okay to that. That would fill out the information. It would input the PDF document in there. I would hit save and back, and that gives me the drawing information. And that drawing PDF document is now available on the mobile app, so that you'd be able to access that mobile app. Down in the administration section here, if we were to edit this, this is where we would put things like follow-up notes. So it may be on the 18th. Meet with the customer on the 18th. We can hit save on that. So this is for our property, our address. Again, through your workflow, I'm not sure at what point this would get filled out. Maybe none of this would get filled out until after the first site visit. But nevertheless, that's how you get that information in there. So if I was to come here, and now I would go and I would see that this account here now is at the quote phase. And then I'm going to wait for that information to go through the next phase. So now if that information is ready and we're able to take it now to the measurement phase, then we would just simply edit the record here and then change it into measurement. We don't have an install date, but when we do have the install date, we can put that information in, save and back, and you'll see that that will now change it from a quote into the measurement phase. And then we can track that all the way through the various phases that it goes through before it's able to be invoiced and then paid. So now once that happens, we'll say it gets down to, we'll bring it right down to the bill phase. Again, you can edit it, or you can just simply double click right here and take that down and bring it right to the billing. So now it's down into the green, it's been billed. $11,300 is what's owing on the account. We're going to take a payment on that account. We can just simply click on the icon right here, and we're going to say we're going to collect a payment on here. So an invoice payment, it's going to assume the full amount is received, but let's say it isn't. Let's just say we got a little over half, or we got half of that there, and that came to us via a cash payment. So we'll just say that was a deposit payment, and if I hit save and back, it'll bring me back to my dashboard, and it will show the balance now owing is $5,300 on this one. So this is going to stay here until this is down to zero. And again, payment is received, invoice payment, $5,300, balance paid in full, came in by check. Check number if you would like, whatever information you need. Save and back, and now that's going to show that the balance owing is zero, and this can now be moved out of the billing phase if we're ready to close this. We can set it to automatically close this. The minute the balance goes to zero, we can have it close, but that may not necessarily close a file. So I think it's probably best that there be some manual effort here when you're ready to actually archive this file, sort of thing. So you just change it to close there, hit save, and then that item is gone into the history. So some of the things that you may look at as well would be repair orders. So we talked a little bit about that. So if we want to come in here, We're going to find Mr. Link. He's got an issue with his one of his screens not working properly. I can just simply go ahead, bring up the customer information there, and now I can do a repair order on this. And then the repair order is going to say, is it warranty work or is the customer paying for this? This is warranty work, what's required. So the blind's broken. We'd like to have somebody come out, say on Friday the 15th at 4 p.m. So just a 4 and a P, so 4 p.m. Someone will be there, saving back, and we'll have it set up so that the day before that, and that will show up down in here. So the day before this, an email or a text message can go out to that customer reminding them that there's an appointment scheduled for tomorrow at 4 o'clock or Friday at 4 o'clock to have that item dealt with. So once that item is dealt with your current workflow, it's just a question of this coming up, this information coming up here, and now it's just going in, editing the record, what was done, replace the pull string, it was done, and it was completed by Vanessa. And now we're just going to hit save on that one. And if there was in fact an invoice that was generated, because in this particular case, let's say the customer was going to pay for that. So now that we know the customer is going to pay for that, then an invoice would be generated right from here by just simply saying add an invoice. Here's the customer, here's the install location. And again, this is that feature that you would use if this was, say, a contractor or a home builder. You'd be able to put in multiple locations for those installs. So here it is, the pull string. It's already attached to the repair order that was done. It was done on the 15th, and it was done at 4 p.m. And that's pretty much it when it comes to that. We now can save that. Now that we have that information, I forgot to put in the dollar amount. So that cost us $2, 2 big ones. So we're going to save that. And now that is the detailed information, but we are going to change that from a quote down to billing. Save. It's now an invoice. We can print the invoice, which brings it up here and brings up the print dialog, which we can now print this out to the printer and send it off through our normal channels, whether it be printing it into a PDF and then emailing it, or sending it off through your Canada Post snail mail. And then again, when that information comes back and payment is received, you can process a payment on this. Cash, save and back. That information is now paid, nothing is owing. We can now close this file by simply changing the billing status to closed, and then save and back. So that's a quick overview of how the customer database gets managed, the work orders and invoices get managed, and the repair orders get managed. We're currently working on a mobile app. I could show you a little bit of what that was, what I'm potentially thinking that's going to look like. If I can get... So what we're thinking, the mobile app would look something like this, where you would be able to see collapsed. It would show you have 2 quotes, 2 at the measurement phase, 1 at the building part. So these are the records that you would have, and then you would click on any one of them. So in this case, I clicked on quote, it opened up, showed me that I had 2 outstanding quotes. This is going to be for the rows of data. This is where you can attach notes, hit save, perhaps change it going through its billing cycle or its management cycle. These are the PDF attachments that were associated to this file. So if I'm going out and I need to get access to those plans, they would show up right here. So you'd be able to see that there. and then once they fall off, go into the closed phase, they would come off of this form here. So that's something that we're working on. We should have that available in a few days, and that's basically where we're at.